Hey, what's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing a tier list of all of the leaders from the structure deck 1 all the way to EB02. Now, I'm doing this big tier list because I haven't done a tier list on this channel yet, but going forward in future tier lists, I'll only be doing the more relevant characters unless an old deck gets some really good support and pushes it up the tier list. There will be a lot of cards in needs help and unplayable. Just as the game has been out for like 2 years now, so there are a lot of leaders that kind of have died to just being um, in the game too long, and newer leaders have come out that are better. So we'll start this leader. We'll start this list off with just like the structure decks, get them out of the way. We're gonna list the order of the cards, by the way, are in color order. So we're gonna go through the color order. So I will have it stamped. I'll have it time carded on the video so you can see which leader you want to see where they put on the list. Now, for the winning leaders, just to kind of go over the list, like so you know why a card goes in a certain order of the tier list. Winning leaders, these are the top tier leaders. These are the top like 4 to 5 leaders that are like have the most data around them. They have the most participants in higher tier events like flagships, regionals, treasure cups. These are the winning list. Like these are the best decks of the meta. You play this if you're going to a regional tournament. Meta relevant slash rogue means these are the next set of like 5 or so leaders that contest in the meta, have some good matchups against some of the top winning leaders, but have big weaknesses against other winning leaders. Locals, these are like your fun. They're not good enough to go to a regionals with, but you can get some wins against some meta decks in locals, but like they have really big weaknesses to most of the meta, but have some really strong matchups otherwise. Needs help means that these leaders have the potential to be good, but don't have the support backing them up. So they need help from Bandai to get better. And unplayable slash banned is just these leaders are completely obsolete at this point. They have either retrains that are better, they are literally banned by Bandai, or there's no support that can save these cards. So going forward, I'm going to start this off with Structure Deck 1 Luffy. So he's not really unplayable, but he has been outclassed by like multiple versions of himself. So his effect is he can once per turn give a rested Don to a character. So that is a good effect, and at the start of the game, that was a really good effect. But as the game's gone on, we've received new leaders that just do that, but better or differently, which is more advantageous in the new style of the game. So it's just not worth playing him anymore outside of like picking up the game and buying a structure deck at first. But like to make this win, it's red, so you just go super aggro, but it's not really something worth playing. There are better leaders. Okay, so going up to the next one, we have Red Zoro. So this leader is honestly like a ridiculously annoying leader. Because from OP01, even though it has such a simple effect, nothing has come out that's kind of rivaled its effect, and thus it stayed quite relevant for red decks going throughout the format, where it dips between being one of the winning leaders to being one of the middling leaders. But it's never dropped. It's never really dropped below meta relevant because its effect is just so generic, and the fact that it wants just aggro. So like this is like if you think red aggro, this is the card everyone thinks of off bat. This is it. So right now it's in meta relevant rogue. It's not top tier. It has its moments at the start of every format, but once the format dies down, it drops down to like meta relevant. So right now it's in the meta relevant tier. So next we have Film Uta, and I will not lie to you, I don't know what this does. This was given out in structure decks, like the free to play structure decks. I have never actually used this leader. So it's bad for me to put this in unplayable or banned, but I've never used it, so I actually don't know what it does. But I've never ever seen this leader be played outside of a new person picking up the free deck. So I'm just gonna throw this there. Yeah, it's there. The next leader is Whitebeard. Now this one's an interesting one. I'm actually gonna throw Whitebeard in meta relevant rogue. So as surprising as this is a strong leader. He's a 6th life leader that says that at the end of your turn, you lose 1 life. So this leader is really strong in that you start 6th life, in that he has just like some really good like oppression. He's also a 6k leader, which is something not to dote about. Like the fact that he's a 6k leader is really, really strong, and it shouldn't be underestimated. Like he has been meta relevant for quite a long time, and I still see him being a leader that can still consistently compete in the meta, as much as people don't want to agree. I don't think it's top tier like it used to be, but I think you can build this where it can work in the meta really efficiently, and a lot of people are going to struggle into this leader. So that's why I've placed it in the meta relevant. I wouldn't put it at locals, only because I see this leader as it's just like Zoro in that it's got a level of genericness to it, where you can kind of slap together a really good aggressive low game with this leader, and because of the fact that it has so much life, even though it's losing a life a turn, you stay super aggressive, and there's not much your opponent can really do to stop you. Really and truthfully, yeah, it's going to hit through, and you're going to be oppressed at how much damage it can do to you in the early games. So that's why I leave it at this point that I have. So the next leader on our list is Ace. So this is 5 cost Ace, and this Ace has the effect of when this leader attacks or is attacked, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. This leader gets plus 1000 during this battle for every card trashed. So basically, when he attacks, or if he is attacked, you can discard events for 1Ks or stages. This is honestly like a decent effect leader, and I'm surprised they released it at the start of the game. But overall, it's not really doing much. It has some really strong cards, like Flame Emperor, which help this leader stay at, I would say, locals level, but it's not meta relevant. I don't think, like, unless you give it the generic red aggro passage, but I don't think his effect gives you enough to support that. The fact you have to run events outside of Flame Emperor is kind of bad. With the other 2 leaders that I put into meta relevant, they at least could run an low end aggro aggressive package and push through and win. I don't see the same thing face. I don't think you can. So the next leader we're going to go over is Red Dragon. Now this leader is in the it's hard. He's going to go in the needs help. So Red Dragon is one of those cards that's like an upgrade of the Luffy card that I mentioned earlier. So this leader, just so I can let you know what it does, is a 5 life leader, 5k power, that says activate main once per turn, give up to 2 total of your currently given Don to one of your characters. So basically how this works is if you give 2 Don to, like, say, your leader, you can activate this ability and then give those 2 given Don to another character on your board. Given Don, any Don that's given to a leader, regardless if it's been given rested or active, is counted now as given Don. So just for his leader's effect. There's an 8-cost dragon that came out with him that was really good, that worked with him, because on play it gave your leader or another character two rested Don, and then obviously Dragon can then move that to another character, so it's quite a nice little combo there. But this leader, while I would say it's better than the Luffy leader, it still kind of just is kind of middling. And outside of the whole generic red package of red aggro, this leader doesn't really see much play. It's not really doing much in the meta, but it isn't unplayable. I think with a good enough support that supported the leader, like the Dragon does, this could be a locals or meta relevant leader, I would say. But right now, I would put him in the needs help category. I'm actually going to backtrack. I'm actually going to pull Ace down in needs help as well. I don't think it's fair for me to just use the excuse of red aggro to push a leader higher Ace hasn't seen much play. It has a good cards, but it needs help. It needs a bit more support to make it up there and better. However, this leader is a locals leader. This is Red Sanji. This Sanji came out in Premium Booster 1, and it's a very interesting, very interesting leader, as it kind of works similarly to an older leader in the game that's not in this color, it's in blue and green. But this leader says, activate rain once per turn, up to one of your characters without an on-play effect, with a cost of 8 or less gains rush this turn. So this leader allows you to have a high level of aggression for characters that don't have on-play effects. I remember when this leader got announced, and then the Blackbeard got announced leader, everyone was like, this leader's gonna break Blackbeard because they don't run on plays and they rush. I would have to say that Blackbeard is dominating still, and this leader is not. This leader is a fun leader to see and to play against, but I would definitely say that this leader isn't one that's really up there in the meta. It kind of came out, and then that was kind of it. I never really saw it get played much past locals, and I haven't seen any events where this has been a relevant factor either. So for me, I have to just say that this leader is definitely one that is at a local level. I think it's good, and I think with the generic progression of the game, it will stay being a somewhat good leader, but I don't think it gets any better than being a somewhat good leader. At least unless it gets its own unique bit of support. You'll find that a lot of the decks, what stops them from being any higher than where they are right now is just the fact that they have a good effect but don't have good supporting cards that work directly with the leader itself. So that is what I think about that leader. Now the next red leader we're going to go over is the first leader to go into winning leaders. So this is Shanks. This is a 5-life leader that says, on attack, once per turn, if you would be attacked, you can, for free, with no cost, minus 1,000 from an attacker, or any of your opponent's characters or leaders, specifically. So this leader came out, and everyone was like, garbage, useless effect. But actually, this giving a free 1k every turn is really, really good. And the deck's cards are really good. It's a simple player body, killer body, player body, killer body play style where you build up to get to your 10-drop Shanks, your 8-drop Rayleighs, your 7-drop Ben Beckmans. You have a really clean line, and you have a really strong top end. It's just a really good leader, and I think really shows a way of building red that I don't think is oppressive like Zoro is, but I just think it's nice and clean, and it's a fun deck to play against and to play with, and it has the results to show it. Now, I think going past EB02, this leader might drop down to meta relevant for a little bit, because green purple Luffy is a problem, and we'll get to that in a second, in a bit of a second when we get to green purple color combination. There actually is one more leader that I don't have on this tier list, surprisingly, so let me quickly just add that on here now. Next leader is Red Luffy from the latest structure deck 21. So this leader, just to quickly go over what it does, it's Don times 1, activate main, once per turn, give up to 2 rested Don to one of your characters. So this is another one of those characters one of those leaders that is like a newer version of an older card in a different way. And for me personally, this is the reason why Luffy is unplayable and Dragon needs help. Because this character is just a better version of those two leaders. And it got support that actually worked with what it does. Now, unfortunately, it's in the structure deck, which means only a handful of them are like worth running. But this leader is a good aggressive leader, and I think going forward, if you want a aggressive leader, you play this leader. I think he probably does it the best. Behind Zoro, honestly, that's where I would put him. And so yeah, that's all I can really say. The 5-drop Luffy came out and the 4-drop Zoro are really strong contenders that make this leader good. And this leader has a good generic effect with support. even going back from OP01 with the Nami that gives a rest to Don, that just makes this leader even stronger. So it's just a good red leader. I think it just is missing something to make it meta relevant. I also think it came out at a really bad time where we had a lot of good decks that just kind of just ignored it. So that's why I put it on this list. So this is all the base red leaders and where I would put them in their relevancy. So going on to the next leader, we have Red Green Law. Now I'm going to be very different when I put this here. I'm putting it in locals. So I've had a lot of cope that this leader is relevant. It's top tier. It's so good, but I keep hearing that, but then I don't see the results to back this leader up. Like I think it's a nice leader, and I think it has a good combination for what it does. But I never see anything back up the claims of this leader. Every time, everyone's coping hard and just saying, "Oh my gosh, this leader is like the best leader. It's now going to be the best leader of red." Yes, 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 and I never see it. So what this leader does is activate main once per turn by resting 2 Don. If you have 5 characters, return one of your characters to the owner's hand, then play a character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand that is a different color than the returned character. So as you can see here, this effect is a decent effect. The supports a playstyle of going wide and then flipping around your characters, which is interesting and quite a cool playstyle, especially with cards like Cavendish, which, since he's a supernova, he can use. But overall, I just think that it's not good enough to be in the meta relevant or winning leaders category, and it needs its own specific line of support to really carry it there. Right now, it's just kind of working with good cards. Something you'll see with a lot of green decks, or a lot of decks that are in green, is that they don't have good supporting cards directly. They have good generic cards that they can work with their leader with. And I think this is one of those ones that has that to a T. There are a lot of 5-cost laws out there, and I don't think any of them add enough to make this leader higher than a locals tier leader, I would say. So following that, we have Red Green Luffy, and Red Green Luffy is leader I'm placing in needs help. He is kind of in the category of the other cards where it's kind of like I don't think like he does enough, but maybe some good support could change that. So what he does is activate main once per turn, paying 4, set up to one of your supernova or straw hat type characters because of 5 or less is active, and give it 1000 power during this turn. So I feel like this could be a good leader. I think the price of its effect is a bit expensive, but I feel like if this had some good dedicated support, this could be really good. Like the fact that you can use this with Cavendish, so you can literally pay for you can like someone let's say you have 6 Don and you got Cavendish on board. You can play out something, I don't know, play out a Body Searcher, and then use a search, so that costs you 2 Don, you've got 4 Don left. You then swing with Cavendish, that restands 2 Don. You then use leader ability, pay 4 Don, you're now at 2 Don, to restand Cavendish, to then swing again with Cavendish, to restand 2 Don because it's not once per turn, and then you can play a 4-cost body. So there is a line. I just think that for him to work, he needs more cards like that. And until he gets more cards like that, I think this leader will stay in the needs help. I think there is lines for this leader, and I don't think it's unplayable. I just think it literally needs that kind of support that allows it to combo and do plays with its unsuspending, or have additional effects for unsuspending. But right now, I don't think it has those. So that's why I'm putting it in needs help. So I'm going to clip hard here, but I have a friend who plays this leader and honestly makes it really work. So I'm going to put Chopper in meta relevant / rogue. So this is more of a rogue on the rogue side. Also, just as a given, just so I can make this clear, these lists aren't in order once they're on the category. Like I'm not ordering them on the category or on the row themselves. They're just on the row. So don't think that Zoro is better than White because ahead of it's not the case. They're just on the row. It just means that they compete. They have their strengths and weaknesses. I think the only one I will order is the winning leaders, and that would just be the best leaders going down in the winning leader slot, but that'll be it. The rest of them are kind of just in their own place. So Chopper, this is a very simple leader, but simple does not mean bad. As I've seen plenty of times in my time playing this game, simple does not mean bad. Activate main once per turn, get up to 3 of your animal or Drum Kingdom type characters up to 1 rested Drum card each. So this plays into a very low and aggressive Animal Kingdom playstyle where you play a lot of the Chopper cards, a lot of the animal cards. They're kind of low end, but they cheat out other cheap bodies, and then Chopper just gives them a bunch of Don, and then you just swing really low, like 5/6s. And this can be really annoying to deal with. This is a really aggressive leader, and it's like a slightly worse version of Zoro because it limits you to a animal trait and it only gives it to 3 characters, versus Zoro is like put 1 Don on Zoro, everything gets 1,000. So this is a worse version of Zoro, but it's still really good, and I would say I've seen this do a lot. Now, my friend who played this, he took it to regionals. He didn't do too well in regionals. He got really badly paired, and it kind of followed him. But I've seen him take this to other events and do really, really well with this leader. Really surprisingly well. He's definitely won tons of locals of this and these are strong like regional training locals, people playing Shanks, Blackbeard, and he's come out on top multiple times. So combining this with the support it has and where Zoro is, I can't put this at anything less than meta relevant / rogue. It just makes the most sense for this leader. Next we have Kouzuki Oden, and I'm gonna put this leader in locals. It is sad because this leader keeps getting like one-off cards of support, and he never really does anything, and it's really upsetting because this is a goodish leader. Now, to go over, let's go over what he does so you kind of have an idea of why. So this card, Big Wall of Text, is all of your Land of Wonder type characters without a counter have 1 counter according to the rules. And then Don times 1 when attacking. If you have a Land of Wonder type character with a cost of 5 or more, this leader gets 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. So this is a pseudo 6k leader that can make himself a 6k if you have a 5 or more Land of Wonder type character. And he can give counterless characters counter. And a lot of the Land of Wonder cards don't have counter. Now this leader it's so upsetting because it's in a nice color combination for aggression. It has the fact that it can be a 6k leader in your opponent's turn is great for defense. But the Land of Wonder cards kind of suck. If I'm being honest, there's only like a couple of them that are really good, and that's what holds this leader back. Like it's good enough to play at a local level, but past that, it just doesn't have the means to stick around and survive in the later halves of the game, and especially against these meta relevant decks that are a lot more complete than this is. This leader has a really kind of mid boss monster in the 8 cost Kouzuki Oden, which I would argue isn't worth running in the list, unfortunately. And I think that all this deck really needs is a good top end and some good removal, and this leader is just solid up there, meta relevant, or even could be considered winning. But the problem it lies is just it kind of does a bit of a lot of things, but not to the best it could be, and it shows. And so that's why I've put Oden in the locals tier. It's such a shame because it's such a cool leader idea, and it just needs some strong support to make it work. So next we have the next leader. I'm gonna get some scorns for this one, but I'm going to put this leader, Red Green Smoker, in meta relevant / rogue. So I think this is a good leader. I just don't think it's a good leader right now in this meta. From what I've seen a lot of people use this leader, and for me, it hasn't gotten the results that for a lot of people using it, it should. So let's look at what the leader does, and then we can kind of talk about it. So this is the OPO10 Smoker that says, opponent's turn, all of your Navy or Punk Hazard type characters get 1,000 power. And activate main once per turn. If you have a character with 7,000 power or more, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. So this leader is a good leader. And it came out with a support card being the Smoker and Tashigi that are also really good cards that can give you 3 Dawn extra a turn, essentially. And it has banners. It's so good. But this leader just hasn't given the results. For some reason, I genuinely don't know. I haven't personally played this leader, but I've played against it. And for some reason, this leader just doesn't hit it the way that it should. It, like, for all accounts and purposes, this leader should be a winning top tier leader. But no matter where it goes at an event, it just doesn't win. Like, people contend and they don't get top 16 with this leader. Or if they do, it's like 1 or 2 people. And it's really surprising. So I'm thinking, at least right now, there must be something key that's missing from this leader as to why it's not getting any like winnings and it's just staying meta relevant. But it is a good leader, and that is showing people giving it a lot of persistence. But yeah, I can't put it any higher than meta relevant. It's not the best red leader. It's not the best green leader, and so yeah, it kind of just falls because of that. So next we have Red Blue Rebecca, and I am going to put this leader in needs help. So this leader is a interesting leader. It is the first leader on this list that off rip cannot attack. Yes, it's one of its effects is it cannot attack. So let's go over what it does, and then we can talk about why. So this leader is a 5-life 2-color leader, red and blue, that says this leader can't attack and activate main by paying 2, draw a card, and up to 1 of your characters gains rush during this turn. So this leader is kind of like PRB-01 Sanji in the fact that it can give a character rush by paying 2 versus for free, and it can't attack, but it's a dual color leader. So this leader is, like, in my personal opinion, the definition of a toolbox. It never got any support that really helped the leader itself. So you just kind of run a lot of good red and a lot of good blue cards to make this work. And because of that, there is a strong lack of synergy with this leader. And it's more just a case of playing good bodies, swinging them when they come out, and that's it. Which is meant to kind of subsidize the fact that the leader can't swing. But the fact that the leader can't swing has a really big impact. And this leader just suffers heavily from that fact alone. I think this leader, if it had some good support that worked with it, it could be better. Do I know what the support could be? Honestly, I don't. But I know that this leader can be played because there are a lot of good blue cards and a lot of good red cards. So this leader is definitely in that needs help locals level bubble. But right now, it's just, yeah, it needs help. It needs some unique support to make it work. Okay, next we have Red Blue Marco. And as much as I hated this leader when it came out, because this leader was the sign that we weren't getting Kouzuki back, this is a meta-relevant rogue leader. This leader keeps getting support because outside of Straw Hats, it's in one of the most supported archetypes in Whitebeard. Surprisingly, I don't know why the Whitebeard has so much support in this game, but it does. And this leader, what it does is it's a 4-life red-blue leader that says Dawn ×1 activate main once per turn, draw 1 card, and place 1 card from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck. Then give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 during this turn. So this leader does so much. It literally does so much. It's card draw / filter. It minuses power from characters, meaning it's easy for you to get rid of them. And because of the fact that it can put stuff on top of the deck, you can set up red Sanji plays. Sorry, not red Sanji, blue Sanji plays, and play characters on top of your deck, which is really, really nice. And as well, with the abundance of white mid support that's come out in red and in blue, this video just has an abundance of support, and from that alone, it can't not be somewhat decent. Like, it can't. If this deck wasn't good, it would be like, I don't even know what to say. It'd be terrible because there's so many white mid cards in red and blue. It's not even funny. But yeah, it's shown consistent relevancy in the meta. He's popping up. It's not like getting the most winnings, but it's popping up and it's in events and it's winning. I even on my locals, which is quite competitive locals, it does quite a lot. And I have a lot of people pull this leader out and just pull out wins, take it to regionals, they pull out wins. They may not win, but like they are getting like top 32, close to top 16. So I can't not put this leader in meta relevant. Do I know what this leader lacks to put it into winning leaders? Generally, I don't. I don't know what this leader's missing, to be honest. I haven't played it, so I've played against it countless times, but I haven't played it myself. I don't personally know what it's missing, but it is a good all-around leader. Okay, lastly, we have Ceasar in the red-blue category. So this leader, it's really hard to put this leader anywhere. I don't want to put it in unplayable because you know what? Okay, now I'm putting it in unplayable. This is probably the first leader that makes me want to make a new category for like needs help, but right now it's unplayable. This leader is unplayable. Don't play this leader. Just like FYI, like do not play this leader. It's not a good leader. This leader says Don times 2 when attacking. You may return one of your hunter type characters with a cost of 2 or more to the owner's hand. KO the opponent's characters with 4,000 power or less. So this leader is quite expensive to do what it does, and there is currently no payoff for doing so. Yeah, this leader suffers from I like to call the Kuros effect. A leader that's its effect has kind of been overtuned, and it was given like no support in the set that it came out in. So it kind of just sits there in the reins of it dies. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. I think this could have been a Don times 1 effect. I didn't think it needs to be Don times 2. I think if they give it some strong starting support, then maybe I could consider the Don times 2. But the fact that the fact that it is right now and the support that it has, this leader has seen no play, absolutely no play. It's just too expensive, and there are no supporting cards that help other than Monet. But that's one card. So I have to put it where it is. I think with some support, this becomes a better leader with some dedicated support. But I think right now it doesn't have it. And also, the color combination of red and blue is kind of bad for KO because blue is a cost-related removal color, and red is a power-related removal color. And this is a leader that wants to do one over the other, which is really bad when you're a dual color leader. Yeah, I think the only aspect of this that is blue is that it bounces its own stuff, but it doesn't gain any advantage past doing so, and the only card that you can bounce with this is the 2-cost Monet. So that's worth doing anyway. So it's just, yeah, it falls short for what it can and should do. And this character is also quite similar to like Red Black Garp, which we'll go over, which kind of has a similar issue to where it has a removal based effect that leans too much to one side and doesn't have the support because of it. So the next leader we'll go over is our first banned leader, Trafalgar Law. So I'm not going to go over this leader too much because it's banned, it can't be played, but it's a good leader, and if it wasn't banned, it would be top tier, hands down, top tier. It has a lot of support. It would be really good if it broken, but it's banned, and it has a new version, which is also unplayable. That's why I haven't added it to this list. But yeah, it's unplayable. It's a good leader. It's banned. Leave it like that. So next we have RP Luffy. So we'll bring this guy over. He is a meta relevant / rogue leader. He's a good leader, a good color combination, a decent effect, and off rip you wouldn't think so because of his stats. But he is a 6k free life leader that says activate main once per turn if you have 0 Dawn cards on your field or 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, add up to 1 Dawn card from your deck and set it as active. So this leader is a fun leader. If you like to play fun, big body decks, this is your leader to pick. It has tons of support in generic red, in generic purple, in straw hat red, in straw hat purple, that allows it to really work. And the fact that all it really wants to do is ramp for 2 turns and then play big bodies back to back to back, it does that, and its effect surprisingly supports that. And you can have there's a lot of ways you can build this leader because there's so many cards out there right now that supports it really well. And so that's why it's able to contend with the meta right now, because it can kind of tune itself to fit for what the best decks are. And the fact that it's a 6 life leader means that in the early games where you're wanting to ramp, it's a lot of investment for most opponents to swing at you. So that's what makes it quite a good leader, offensively and defensively. So that's why I put it here. Its fact that it's free life does not come to play when you have 6 K power. Trust me. So next we have red, purple, kid. Now this is a locals leader. So this leader is actually really fun to play. I would highly advise you want a fun, cheap deck, play with Purple Kid. It's a power modulating deck where you constantly increase your kid's power, restand him, and what kind of jazz, and make him punch a lot of things. But overall, it's just missing some pieces to really keep board pressure, because this leader wants to punch really big, but that doesn't really matter in this game because there's no like piercing mechanic where you can destroy something and then take a life steal. So because of that, him making really big numbers just gets stopped by blockers, and his bodies aren't really that much of a threat. Doesn't have any protection, so, and he's kind of slow at the start because of the fact that his leader ability holds him back. So let's go over what his leader ability does so you understand why. So 5,000 power, 5 life, 2 colors, red, purple. Your turn, if you have 4 or more life, give this leader minus 1,000 power. And then when attacking, don't -1. This leader gets plus 2,000 during this turn. So this leader is a 4k leader when you're healthy, and a 5k leader when you're not, and can make himself a 7k leader or a 6k leader depending on if you minus Dawn or not. So like I said, it's a power modulating leader that wants to make big numbers, that can restand itself and can swing big. And if you have no life, this leader kills you. Hands down, this leader kills you. But if you have blockers and keep your life, this leader struggles. So that's where I put this leader. That's why I think that he is in the locals level. I think you take it to a local, I think you can win. I think you'll have fun playing it. I think people will be surprised when they see it, but it's a decent leader. It needs some stuff to make it better, or a better format for it, or like a new mechanic, like a piercing mechanic would do this leader so much. But right now, it kind of just sits there in the locals level. So next we have red, purple, Uta. I'm gonna kind of cope hard here, and I'm gonna put this leader in needs help. Red and purple is a color that has the most film support, and I feel like this leader could be good. Any leader that can ramp in its effect, I think, can be good off rip if it has supporting cards that can make it good. So this leader is a 4 life, 5,000 power leader, red purple, that says when attacking, you may trash 1 film type card from your hand. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 during this turn, and add 1 Dawn to your own deck and rest it. So this leader off rip, when attacks, trash a card, ramp. Great. And it minus number 2,000. Even better. I think it just literally needs a supporting card that is in the film type to make this work. This film has had a lot of support, but none of it has been good enough to make this leader a good leader. But having some good mid to late game top end that you can ramp up into would make this leader so much better. Having them being the film architect right now, with Douglas Bullet being one of your better top end leaders, and he's kind of top end characters, and he's kind of meh. That's what holds this leader back. But I think with some good support in the top end, this leader could be a really fun and interesting leader to play with the film cards, and would be another relevant Uta leader. So we have a couple more red leaders to go over. So next we have my biggest cope. Okay, my biggest cope. We have red, purple, sugar. So I actually have a video of this on my channel, going over it, my list, breaking it down, and giving you some gameplay footage. So I highly recommend that. But for me, after playing it as much as I have to put this leader in the locals tier. And the reason I say this is I want to cope hard. I want to be like, this is a meta relevant leader. But from my tons of experience, I can't put it there. This has some really good matchups into some meta decks. But if you know how to play against this leader, doesn't matter what you're playing, this leader sucks. Like, if you know how to play against it, its biggest strength becomes its biggest weakness. And it's not able to contend in the later games against a lot of the winning leaders and meta relevant rogue decks. I think right now you'll see Sugar do decent, like have some decent showings in high tier play because people don't know how to play against it. But it has a very simple playstyle of don't attack it in the first couple turns so it can't ramp until you've established a board and then swing into it. And then it ends up running out of resources, and it's not able to drop its big bodies unless it has a Rosinante on board. So if you remove the Rosinante, that can't do much other than just counter your stuff. So if you're able to just play things to the board and swing in the from 5 to 6 turn onwards, this leader is sitting there upset, especially if you can remove its bodies as you do so. Playing against an Usopp person, an Usopp who's already kind of a strong matchup against the leader because it can remove stuff easily. But the fact that he just didn't swing meant that even though I had a hand that could deal with Usopp, I couldn't get there because I couldn't ramp. Gave him time to set up bodies, and then it just overwhelmed me in the value game. So yeah, Sugar is in the locals level. I think if this card got a bit more support, I could easily put this in the meta relevant rogue category. But right now, it's a locals best leader. Can't cope any hard hits. I've played enough tournaments. When X1, this is a locals leader. So next we have red, black, Garp, and I'm gonna throw this leader in. Oh, hold on. Before we do that, I didn't tell you what the leader does. So let's go over what Sugar does, so you know what it does, for those who didn't watch my video. So this leader is a 5k 4 life leader that says, end of your turn, if you have a Don Quixote Pirate type character with 6,000 power or more, set up to one of your Don cards as active. Then once per turn, when you activate an event, add up to one Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. So, playstyle of this leader, play some early game counter events to ramp in your opponent's turn, play out your 8 cost Don Quixote Doflamingo, play out Rosinante to draw cards, restand Dawn, and just constantly keep countering your opponent as you roll down their board and gain control. You drop some big bodies at the end. For a more in-depth guide, again, check out my video on this. But that is what Sugar does. So now go back to Garp. Garp is a needs help leader. So I mentioned this leader earlier in that this leader has a effect that works with one of its colors and not the other. This leader says, when this leader or any of your characters is given Dawn, give it to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less, minus 1 cost during this turn. So this leader works with giving Dawn and minus it. And I don't know why this leader has a cap of 7 or less. Maybe they thought this would be broken, but it really isn't. And with the support it has right now, it can't give too much Dawn to really utilize that effect, and you have to use an initial card to make a big body smaller, which also sucks. And the fact that he can't KO himself also sucks. So this leader has a lot of, it wants to be passive remove like passive assistance, but it ends up falling short on that because a lot of the KO stuff that you would run KOs at like 0 or 1, which means like let's say you have a 7-cost character on the board, you need 7 Don alone to given to a character to KO a to KO a 7 drop. That sucks. It's a lot of Don investment for not a lot of payoff, really and truthfully. So that's why this leader is in need help. It got some support. It gets some support in OP11, but I just don't think it's enough. I think this leader needs like a whole wave of support to really make it work. But I don't see them doing that when they've released Red Black Kobe, which is kind of like what the leader should have been. As they've kind of changed how Black works going forward. But yeah, this leader is a needs help leader. It's fun, but it can't really do what it wants to do as efficiently and effectively as it does, which sucks because this has a really nice ult art. I love the ult art Garp, but anyway, besides the point. Next, we have Red Black Sabo. So I am making this list for the EB02 format. So because of that, this is in the needs help category. However, this leader just got a bunch of revealed support in OP012. And so if we were talking OP012, I would probably put this leader in the meta relevant category. I don't think this leader becomes a winning leader because of the support, but I think the support that this leader got is really good. And I think can carry it to at least a local / meta relevant rogue area. But right now, it doesn't have the support, so right now it needs it. It doesn't have any real good unique support for its black side. It's mainly just its red side, which is a lot better in a different revolutionary armor leader that we'll go over. But right now, yeah, that's just it. So let's go over what it does so you can understand why I have placed it where I have. Because even though it has a decent effect, the fact it lacks support on both ends really makes this leader have its issues. So this leader is a 5k 4-life leader, red black, Don ×1, opponent's turn, once per turn. If your character with 5,000 power or more would be KO'd, you may give that character -1,000 power during this turn instead of that character being KO'd. So this is a good form of protection against KO-based removal. It does suck that the game is leaning towards trash-based removal, but you know what? There's still quite a lot of KO-based, so that right there is helpful. But in your worst matchup with this leader, it's like blue, which does bounce, red, which does trash and KO, black, which does trash and KO. So yeah, I think when this leader came out, this leader had a really strong ability, and if it had support back then, it would be a top tier leader. I think right now it's kind of been outclassed with the new forms of removal that they've added to it. So that's why it is where it is. And even though it is a good removal, it is a good protection effect, it's slowly getting phased out as we change and develop in this game. So next we have the next leader, which is Bello Betty. And I'm going to put this leader in the locals. I don't want to cope hard. It's an aggro deck, so it feels like when you play against it, it's a meta relevant leader. But its biggest weakness is that it has no hand size, even though it can shoot to the board really easy and has an amazing support card in Karasu, and like can really buff its characters up. Once you remove this character, if you win this game by removing its board and then chipping its life down, and it can't stop you. It struggles with counter power. It doesn't have good draw engines. It just wants to aggro you and hopefully kill you before you realize just clear the bodies. And yeah, that's it. A lot of the bodies don't have a lot of high power because they get a +3k from the leader. So let's go over what the leader does and talk about that so you can get a better understanding. So this leader is a 4-life 5k leader, red and yellow, that says activate main once per turn. You may trash one revolutionary army type character from your hand, and up to 3 of your revolutionary type characters or characters with trigger get +3,000 power during this turn. So this is a great aggression leader. Great aggression leader. But that is all it does. It's all just gas, no brakes. And that's its biggest weakness. And I think This is one of those leaders that kind of falls in the Zoro category of Zoro does it better. Now, its ability is stronger than Zoro's, but the fact that Zoro has one extra life and doesn't need to discard for its effect means that Zoro has the defense to match its aggression, so it can survive longer than this one does. This leader, I don't get it twisted, this leader will, if you don't pay attention, knock you down, make you a four life or even a free, make you a 4 or 3k leader, and then you have to guard 3 into 8, which sucks hard. But most of the times, if you just keep removing their bodies as they play them, only like 1 or 2 of them have rush, so you're not gonna get too really impressed by their damage. You kind of know when they're gonna start up their go, and they want to kind of maximize value because they don't want to discard a card to only give 1 card to 3k. So you kind of get a rough idea. And since the leader has triggers, you know to be cautious with the life swinging because you know they're probably gonna have something in life. So it's really easy to play around this leader if you know what you're doing. And I think when it came out, it was a problem, but I think now it's kind of just been outpaced by the meta, where every deck has a bit of removal, a bit clearing, some nice bodies. So I think it drops down to locals level. And our last red leader is red, yellow, Sabo. So this is a hard leader for me because Vivi Theory loves this leader. It's his favorite leader. Shout out to Vivi Theory. He's a great One Piece YouTuber. You should check him out. Honestly, I'm in his streams every once in a while. He is great One Piece YouTuber. But he dies on the hill with this leader, and I just can't see it. I have played against this leader multiple times from its release, even up to now, and I play quite a wide range of decks, and I never struggle with this leader. If you have any form of removal, this leader dies. This leader dies so hard. I'm mainly a blue and purple player, so every time I play against this leader, they'll do a bunch of plays, swing a body, throw it back into life, and then I kill it and get rid of it, and it's gone, and they're crying. And this leader, it has a cool effect. And I think, like with most leaders, if it had a good supporting engine around it, I think could be a really good leader. But I think right now, it has some good generic red cards, but none of these cards really carry it high enough to make it where it's a winning leader, nor of it is it better on Rogue. I have to throw this leader into locals. I think this leader can be good. And I think that eventually it will have the support to be good. It's one of those, my personal opinion, evergreen leaders. An evergreen leader is a leader that has a good effect, where as long as it gets good support, it can keep staying relevant. Zoro is a good example of that. The evergreen leader. But I think right now this is at a locals level. And I think the results for this leader kind of show for it. Now, EB02 is still new, so maybe things will change for this leader. But I think right now it doesn't. And unfortunately, VV3 has to pursue that locals. It needs something to make this leader better. I know you know it needs something. So that is it for all the red leaders in the game. You can kind of see there's a big disparity, where a lot of them are kind of middling, but there's only one winning red leader right now that really sits there. There's normally only ever one red leader that really sits at the top, really and truthfully. Most of these red leaders kind of stay at the mid to bottom range. But this is where I would put all these red leaders. I'm just trying to kind of go over to see if there's any I might have second thoughts about. I'm being too harsh on Ceasar. I'm being too harsh. I'm gonna put Ceasar in needs help. I'm being too harsh. It is a leader that I want to see it get some support, and then if it gets support and it's still really bad, I'll move it back to unplayable. But right now, its wave of support was terrible, so I'm gonna put it in needs help. But this is my final list for the red leaders in EB02. I'm going to make a video covering all the leaders in each of their colors, and I'll have a video having the whole list, so you have one that just kind of shows everything. But yeah, this is my video for the red leaders for EB02 format. this is what you want to kind of play. Anything in the locals and higher, I think you can play in any semi-competitive event and have fun and get some wins. I think anything below locals, yeah, if you anything below the locals tier, you can play it at locals, but you're not winning. Um, it needs some strong support to really carry it. And then anything below needs help, don't play. Just not worth playing. You're not gonna have fun. You're gonna get beaten down, and then you're gonna wonder why. Yeah, and the law you can't play. So yeah, so that is my list for Red. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.